Hello, Utah hockey fans. It's James and Ryan. We're back for episode 5 of the Fanology Hockey Sports Podcast. I'm your co-host, James, and with me is your host, Ryan. Ryan, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Ready to talk about some Utah hockey.
Good. We have some exciting stuff for everyone. So Ryan's been putting the grind in. I asked him several questions, had several things that I was just curious about. So I'm just gonna have him jump right in if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Hey, let's hear it. What do you have to share with us newbies today?
What do you want to know?
All of it. Why don't we talk a little bit about what's coming for the team? What's the possibilities? Okay. Ryan Smith has mentioned a couple times that he wants this to be the year that the Utah Jazz become competitive, and he also wants a competitive team on the ice. So why don't you jump in and share some of your notes on what is it going to take to make that happen?
So, and a few things to make that happen. Like we mentioned last episode, we've got $40 million plus in cap space. Now they've got to improve the team without sacrificing the future, because we don't want to just be good this year. We want to be good for years. We want to have a dynasty, so to say, right? So we have a lot of draft picks coming up. Bill Armstrong is willing or can trade draft picks to teams in cap trouble to bring in some veteran players. So we've got Cooley, right? Logan Cooley, he's young, talented young player. If he's been playing with other young players, if we could get some veterans around him to give him more experience, help build that hockey IQ up without sacrificing other players' contracts, build this team. But that's one of the possibilities.
Very nice. And who exactly is Bill Armstrong? Who exactly is Bill Armstrong, and what's his role with the Utah NHL team?
So Bill Armstrong is the general manager. He's the one who's going to be making the deals for the team in the off season, doing the negotiation. He did this with St. Louis Blues. He was with them for a while. Before they won the Stanley Cup, he was there building that team and was with them when they won the Cup. So he knows what it takes to build a winning team. He was given Arizona, or not given, but brought into Arizona under a penny-pinching owner. And not only that, but they had some contract issues with Arizona. Got dumped contracts on them of players that were no longer playing, and they had to keep playing those players. But we don't have to do that anymore.
Nice.
So that's part of what has freed up money, and then contracts expiring, and we need to re-sign.
Very nice. Well, it'll be cool to have an owner that lets go of the reins a little bit.
Oh yeah,
and lets him do his thing, and hopefully he can repeat the same success he had in St. Louis. What other options do we have, or what has already been done?
So other options we have, and something that's very likely to happen. We'll see, but with them wanting to bring veteran players in, something they can do is, with as much cap as we have, you can overpay players. So if a player, let's say, I'm just going to throw a number out, would normally get $7 million on a 3-year deal, we give them $7 million on a 2-year deal. It's a short-term contract, helps develop these young players. But then when our young players are up for contracts, those guys' bigger contracts are gone, and we've got the money then to pay them if they've earned that, and they've proven that they're worth it. So that's what I think is going to happen is we bring people here, overpay them, on short-term deals.
Are there restrictions to what you can pay an incoming veteran?
No.
Okay.
There's veterans that go to teams taking the league minimum of $750,000. So
okay.
Yeah, there's no other than the league minimum and keeping your team under the salary cap.
Are there benefits? So I'm thinking NBA contracts, existing teams, the player that holds a contract to an existing player, even when that player goes into free agency, can pay that player more than other teams can. But there's none of those types of restrictions in the NHL.
Any team can offer them the money.
Okay.
So the free agents are able to talk to any team and take offers from any team. Their contracts are up. There are restricted free agents,
right,
which is different. Those only the team can offer, and if they need to go to arbitration because they feel like they're worth more, that can happen, but the team still has the right to pay them what they're worth. And some players take hometown discounts. They know, hey, I could go to this team and make more money because they offered me more. I like the group of guys I'm with. I don't want to uproot my family. I'll play here for less just to stay here with be in the locker room with these guys still.
Are there larger markets that tend to steal top talent just because they're a more appealing market?
Not necessarily that I see. I think players may want to try to play for a closer to hometown team where they grew up or team they watched growing up, but the bigger markets, Chicago, Detroit, those teams are struggling right now. So Boston's pretty good, but I don't think people go there just because of the name.
That's cool. I mean, not many people have watched the Utah Yeti. Not a leak.
Not a leak.
Just a
we don't know
speculation. But it will be cool. I mean, I think it's a thrilling time to be a part of history.
Definitely.
So hopefully we can get a lot of interest in these. But that would be really neat to kind of model a plan that you've described. Well, what else can we do? What other options?
So we've got on the team right now 7 20-goal scoring players, which that's huge. You're running 4 lines when you got that many people scoring at least 20 goals. Running 4 lines is what it takes to win the Stanley Cup. The Avs are out of the playoffs. We were running basically 2 lines. Our third and fourth line were getting very little ice time, and they were taken out because of that. Teams that are running 4 lines and got 4 lines scoring are going to beat you when you got your guys out there that can't score. So when we have 7 guys scoring at least 20 goals and they're all young, they're going to improve and potentially have 7 30-goal scoring players. And when you hit 30 goals in the NHL, that's caliber hockey. That's Nathan MacKinnon. Awesome. That's Connor McDavid level of playing.
And so a line, that's like a rotation, correct?
A line is a rotation. So when I'm talking line, that's the forwards.
Okay.
So you've got 4 lines. So you got 4 centers, 8 wings, right wing, left wings. Cool. So that's a line. And then the defense is the pairing. You got 3 defensive pairings, which we need to fill all of those. We have 0 defensemen under contract right now.
Well, let's get some.
Let's get some.
Any other prospects or things that are looking good?
We did sign today. We signed Julian Lutz to a 3-year deal. That was about $2.8 million. Previous years, he's played in Germany. He's played in different leagues, but last year he played for the Green Bay Gamblers in the United States Hockey League. They only play 50 games a season, In those 50 games, he had 24 goals and 44 assists. So 68 points in 50 games. That's over a point per game. Can't ask for much more out of a hockey player than to be at a point per game. But he's young. So I think even though he signed an NHL contract, it's probably going to be a two-way contract, and he'll spend at least most of next year in the AHL, still develop there. And then maybe 25, 26 season we see him more here in Utah.
Very nice. Okay. Well, what other team needs should we watch out for this offseason? Or what other teams should we watch out for this season?
Other teams, we're going to have our rivals in our conference. But we're going to be competitive. I think we make the playoffs. And
make the playoffs your first season in a new state.
In a new state. I know the players that are here are excited to be playing at a team or an arena, NHL arena, not a college arena. They'll be packed. But one thing we're going to have as well is with our cap space again, when Vegas became a team and when Seattle became a team, they had a lot of flexibility to just kind of pick and choose players they wanted that weren't protected. We don't have that. We don't have like a draft like they did to just pick players, but we've got the cap space that we can outbid most teams on the players we want, which is awesome.
And as you described, those are bigger contracts but shorter term, so it gives us that flexibility to continue to grow and develop and not
sacrifice the future.
Very nice.
I mean, we got 33 picks over the next 3 years. So we've got draft picks we can give away to bring players in and trade, even players that are not under contract. But right now we've got only 23 players under contract. One that is not under contract became a fan favorite while they made the introduction to the team here at the Delta Center. That's Liam O'Brien. He led the league in penalty minutes. Part of the reason for that is he is not afraid to drop the gloves. He will fight. He likes to fight. And he's been playing for the league minimum, $750,000. So he seemed like he wanted to stay here. He seemed excited about the opportunity. I think it's going to be an easy signing to keep him here.
Bring on that spicy tuna.
Spicy tuna. Let's go. He can't wait to get the place buzzing. So
that would be neat. How quickly do you think we could sign him, or what's the earliest we'd start signing him?
I'd say beginning of July, after the draft. So the Stanley Cup will be won mid-June, and I think teams will start making moves and announcing their signings beginning of July.
Very nice. And are there any restrictions in place right now to stop us from signing, or is it just the way the league flows? Yeah,
you can sign other players that haven't been in the NHL, but cannot do it until some teams will make trades during the draft instead of, hey, we've got the 10th pick. Instead of the 10th pick, we're giving that to this team and trading for this player, and deals will be made that way. And then after the draft, you'll see the signings start happening.
Very nice. And now, so we spoke about draft picks the last couple episodes, but let's dive more into that. We've got several years of many draft picks in the previous years, and we've also got many more upcoming. So what are some of our options with all these draft picks? Because obviously we don't need 55 new draft picks over the next couple of years, or whatever the exact number is.
It would have been 55 in 5 years, like 11 draft picks a year. That's insane. It's a good question because Armstrong, like I said, he helped build the St. Louis Blues Stanley Cup championship team. He's a good negotiator, and he knows how to target teams that are cap strapped. Like last summer, the Kings were going to be in some salary cap issues. He was able to bring Dursey in. He's a defensive man. His contract's up, but hopefully we'll re-sign Dursey. But he was able to get Dursey for a second-round pick. Not even a first-round pick, a second-round pick, because he knew the Kings needed to get rid of people because they couldn't start the season above salary cap. So he kind of exploited that weakness that they had and was able to get a player for cheap.
Very nice.
I mean, we had to pay his salary, but, I mean, we didn't have to give anything up. A second-round pick, those guys are usually going to end up in the AHL.
And we can afford to pay people right now.
We can afford to pay. So, and like we said, Ryan Smith, he wants to have a competitive Jazz team. He said he wants to have a competitive team on the ice as well. And things that we have available to us, cap space, draft picks. It's going to be exciting come July to see what starts happening.
It's going to be a fun off season, that's for sure. And
we will keep you guys up to date.
Anxiously awaiting the first face-off and the first drop of the puck in September for preseason.
September for preseason, October for regular season.
But it'll be pretty exciting. And, you know, one cool thing is it's no accident that Ryan Smith has bought a basketball team and an NHL team. He's got deep roots with both. He grew up a huge basketball fan. He grew up a huge hockey fan. On his profile for the NHL, it actually talks a lot about how he grew up playing roller hockey, and so he can still skate a little bit. I'd love to see him out there with all these young bucks and just...
That'd be awesome.
Getting hit a little bit, but he was also a huge fan of the Salt Lake Golden Eagles, and you know, if you have as much money as he does, what better thing to do than to bring two of your favorite sports into the state? And I guess he didn't really bring Utah, but the Jazz, but he secured them for himself and for the state for a very long time. So it's definitely no accident, and he's a fan's fan, and he's a fan of the team, he's a fan of the sport, and he's definitely going to do all he can to make sure it's competitive and exciting. I kind of relate him to like a Mark Cuban, but for Utah for this NHL team. Yeah. So Mark Cuban got the Dallas Mavericks a championship, and he recently sold the Mavericks, but they're on the cusp of what could be another one. So bring it on, Ryan. We are ready for several parades here in Utah.
We're ready.
But more news about Ryan.
Yes.
He, his good buddy Pat McAfee called him up the other day without any warning, and Ryan Smith shared a little news. What was that?
So he did announce that, well, obviously the voting ended for the Utah Hockey, as we're called right now. It's been narrowed down to 4 names. But he did not give all 4. He only gave the 2 front runners.
The ones that everyone knew.
The ones everyone pretty much knew. The Utah Mammoth and the Utah Yeti. We'll see what happens when the next voting opens and find out then what the other 2 are.
Yes, they're staying very mum on the next steps and all 4 teams. But speculation is out there. Yeti's been leading most polls I've seen. Mammoth's been a close second. I still think they're fundamentally flawed in the fact that they need to be plural, but maybe that will kind of be the little bait and switch.
Maybe.
Just to protect copyrights or trademarks, rather. But who knows? So stay tuned. You will want to continue listening to Fanology Sports Utah Hockey with me and Ryan, because we're going to bring you all the latest news and all the great updates, tips, rules, and much, much more to get you guys excited for our first season as the Utah Hockey Club, or whatever we are called.
We'll see. We might know before the season starts.
let's hope he doesn't drag it out that long. But thanks so much for listening, and stay tuned for episode 6 coming next week. Ba-da-bum-bunch.